A judge has ruled that police bosses can be held liable for their juniors' crimes. Now, Justice Ngaah when decided to make this ruling after an overzealous police officer fired a tear gas canister at Davji Atela, who is the Secretary General of KMPDU, and that was in February 2024. This police officer probably had no idea what he was setting in motion. It was a Pandora's box of court cases, lawsuits, etc. On December 31st, 2024, the High Court ruled that the Inspector General can be held personally liable for the actions of his juniors and even prosecuted. Such, for example, the officer who fractured Dr. Atela's skull with a tear gas canister. Of course, that's one of the examples of excesses done by juniors that the Inspector General can be held liable.
And the big question is, what does this mean? It means that the Inspector General of Police and other senior officers can be charged, as Mariam has said, or sued for damages if their command or lack of it leads to injuries and death. So for trial of police bosses, it means that either the director of public prosecutions can order for the process to be done, or individuals can initiate private prosecution, which could open the floodgates for several victims of brutality during recent anti-government and anti-abduction protests. So as you look at such an incident, it means that, because it's a disciplined force, it's an organized force, someone must be liable for the things that are happening in the street. So if you identify an individual, or even if you do not identify, then the ball has to roll to a corner where it stops, and where the ball stops is exactly where you're supposed to prosecute an individual, or even their leader. Sometimes unaweza kuwa ni a specific officer that you saw, and you can actually prosecute, you can actually file a case against them, or just basically their boss.
That's true. I like what you said about also holding officers responsible in their individual capacity.
Yes.
There was also a case where a judge ruled in a 2017 petition that individual police officers can be sued in their personal capacity for extrajudicial actions. That means there is no veil of I was acting in my capacity as a police officer when what you're doing is extrajudicial. So of course this has lifted the veil that police officers have hidden behind, of course, and it has made it such that leaving office may not also guarantee that you're immune from prosecution. If you're, for example, the Inspector General of Police, and I remember yesterday we spoke about the Inspector General of Police being summoned in front of the court. There was also Nurdin Haji, who is the NIS boss, and the DCI boss, Mohammed Amin. All three had been summoned. I don't think any of them appeared.
There was a no-show, especially after being given an extension of 1 week. And it seems that it's become common knowledge that they do not appear in court. I think for previous governments, that's if you held such a high position, then Kito Kotini, you can just say, you know what, si lazima niende. But with our new constitution, I believe that things are as clear as day, and we can always use the High Court in our defense. So they've been given another chance to actually appear. Failure to which, so that's contempt of court. So
if they don't appear on the 31st, is it the 27th or the 31st? Then they will be held in contempt of court. I'll get the date correct, but yes, they do have one more chance to appear before the courts. Otherwise, they will be held in contempt and prosecuted. And you remember the Inspector General, the acting Inspector General at the time, Masengeli, also refused to appear before court. He was held in contempt. He ended up apologizing, showing up in court and apologizing. But why do we think that some people are above the law? That there are people who can find a court order or a summons optional in this country.
So actually the court date is 27th of January. And of course, if they do not show up, they will be convicted for contempt and also equally sentenced.